What is going on, everybody, and welcome to bootcamp day number 21. Today we're going to be going over back testing, what program I personally use to back test, and we're also going to be catching some back testing trades live. But real quick, as always, before we hop into this bootcamp video, what I need you guys to do is comment down below doing your daily check-in. Let me know that you're still rocking with me. We have about 10 days left of this bootcamp, so if you guys are not caught up, I highly suggest you do. If you did not see, I am currently doing an entire bootcamp on this channel, so currently we have about 20 uploads. But yeah, definitely make sure you guys check them out. Alrighty, so let's hop into back testing. So personally, when it comes to back testing, what I like to use is TradingView. You can use on demand on ThinkorSwim, but honestly, it's really slow and it's really laggy. So in my honest opinion, TradingView is probably going to be your best bet when it does come to back testing. It costs like $14.95 a month. It really isn't that much, and it's going to significantly help you in your trading. I talk about this all the time. If you simply come into the market, take one trade, don't go back, journal, review your trades, whatever it may be, you're just getting one repetition in the market. But if you come into the market, you take the trade, you go back and you're back testing, you're reviewing your trades, you're journaling through your trades, you're creating multiple repetitions, which as a result is going to help you in the future as a trader. So personally, when I am back testing, I either do it on the ES futures or the NQ futures. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull up the ES futures, and when I am back testing, I personally do it on the 5-minute time frame. If you want to play around with different time frames, feel free. 15-minute, 30-minute, hour, whatever it may be. Just personally, I really like the 5-minute time frame. I have found that that is my sweet spot, my bread and butter when trading. That's why I like to do a lot of back testing on the 5-minute. So what I like to do is click this replay button right here and then simply close my eyes. I'm going to look over here. We're just going to scroll all the way to the left, and then we're just going to pick a random spot. I have no idea where we're about to land, and we're going to go right here. Whoops, there we go. Okay, so as we can see, this was in the middle of the session, wherever price may be at this time. Where is it at? Is it? Okay, price is all the way up here. All right, so as we can see, we had a nice little bottoming out here around 9:30. It looks like a little liquidity sweep below these lows over here. Price reclaimed it and then gave a nice push to the upside. Personally, not really seeing a setup here, so we're just going to go bar by bar, see if we can find a setup. I have no clue what's going to happen, so if I take a losing trade, I take a losing trade. If I take a winning trade, you guys are going to see exactly what I'm looking for. But we're simply just going to go forward, and we are going to see if we can find any good setups. There was a nice fair value gap right here, gave a nice push to the upside. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that. So let's just continue going forward, and let's see if we can catch anything in this session. After 12 o'clock, we're just going to skip and go to the next day. Typically, I don't trade after 11:30. I just noticed the market really doesn't offer too much opportunity after that time. So we're just going to go ahead and go to 12 o'clock, which is going to be actually right here. So we're just going to skip to the next day, not really seeing anything. As we see, I mean, the market really did not do much after that at all. All right, so the market just opened. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark these overnight lows and overnight high just in case price wants to give a liquidity sweep up there. Not doing any analysis on the higher time frame. If you want to, you can. Like, you can go to a 1 hour, a 4 hour, or a daily and start looking for those higher time frame levels. I'm personally just going to keep it simple on the 5-minute time frame. If you go to a 1 hour or an even higher time frame than the 5-minute, kind of defeats the purpose, just because you're going to see it shows you exactly where price went, right? Price went right up into this liquidity right here. So now I already know there's more than likely going to be a liquidity sweep. So if you are going to be back testing, just keep that in mind, that you are going to see what that full candlestick ends up doing. Okay, so I did end up going short, and I was talking through the last recording, and of course it froze right after I was on that. I promise you that this is the same exact day. If you want to go back, you can see it August 14th, 2023. I did end up talking through why I went short up at this area right here. So as you can see with the back tester, I went short 2 ES contracts. The stop was going to be above 45.03, which would have been the invalidation point. This is a liquidity sweep right above these highs right here. So as we see, price broke, reclaimed the opposite side, gave a nice little liquidity sweep. I went short 2 contracts. Stop loss would have been above here, ideally aiming for this liquidity over here, even this liquidity right here. We can see if there's some fair value gaps on the way down that we can look to potentially take profits at as well. Obviously, we're only short 2 ES contracts. Now, if we're trading options, obviously we have that availability to trim more on the way down, but we only have 2 ES contracts. So what I'm going to do, first price target is going to be this daily 20, or not the daily, the 5-minute 21 EMA. And then ideally, we're going to be aiming for down here. So let's see what price ends up giving us. Again, we went short up there. Let's see what we can catch on the way down. Price is coming back up. We're going to stick to the stop loss. It's either going to hit the stop loss or it's going to come down and hit our first price target. So as we can see, price did come down and it ended up hitting the first price target. Now, as far as the stop loss, you can see that price didn't really break above the level. All it did was come up and wick at it. So that personally wouldn't have stopped me out. If we start showing strength above the level, that is where I will get stopped out. As you can see, all it did was tag the level and then came right back down on this 5-minute time frame. Personally would not have stopped me out. So as we can see from here, price is now down to, what is that, around 8 points to the downside from the entry. So because price did hit that first price target and actually dropped a little lower, what I'm going to do is just buy one back right now. And then ideally we're aiming for these lows down here. Still going to keep the stop above here. The trade will still end green regardless. So let's see what price ends up giving. And then from there, if it gets to around 1600, we're just going to go ahead and close out the position. But ideally what I'm looking for is a break below these lows. Might have to take profits a little early. Let's see if it breaks below. Tried to break below, reclaim the level with heavier volume. So not ideal. But again, still going to hold this, see if it can break below the lows, see what it can do, and we're going to stick to the stop loss. All right, so it's getting close to the end of the day. It would be 335 right now. Obviously, you know, as a day trader, I'm not going to be sitting here in this shop all day. But again, we're just back testing right now. And as we can see, price is starting to break above that break-even point. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and close it out. But this right here is a perfect example of a setup that I would be looking for. So let's go ahead and let's just skip to the next day and see what price can give us. And real quick, if you're looking to trade live with me and a bunch of other amazing traders, make sure you guys check out our Discord. The link is going to be down in the description. We live trade every single morning. A lot of free education is provided inside of this community. Plus, the overall community itself is amazing. So again, if you guys do want to trade live with me and a bunch of other amazing traders, make sure to check out the link to the Discord. The link will be down in the description. All right, so I accidentally skipped over 930, but anyways, let's just see if we can find a setup. There was a really good one right here that I ended up missing, a very nice 5-minute fair value gap, but anyways, let's see if we can find a setup. We do have a nice pivot high, pivot low here. So let's see if we take a nice fib trade. Let's see if price can come up towards that 50 or 61.8, maybe even an earlier entry after that. Let's just wait and stay patient. If price breaks below the lows, probably not going to be interested. So let's see, we're getting pretty close to that 50% retracement. Not a lot of volume. So depending on the smaller time frame, maybe validated an entry. But I'm just going to skip to the next candle. If the next candle confirms it, then I will try it. So nothing that I'm really seeing on this 5-minute candle right here. Still no entry. And then as we can see, price came up. See if it can hit that 61.8. Maybe that ends up confirming an entry. Also, it kind of looks like we're forming this little 5-minute bear flag right here. So let's see what price ends up doing. Maybe it can hit the 61.8, which would be the upper range of that bear flag. Or maybe it just breaks below and we can look for a nice little put entry. So let's just go ahead. Still waiting for a setup. Got very close to that 61.8 and heavier volume on that sell. So let's actually go ahead and let's just try one contract for the time being. And the stop loss is going to be a couple points above these highs right up here. So maybe around like 44.82. And then ideally looking for the breakdown to the downside. So let's just see what price ends up doing right there. Had a very nice drop to the downside. Had another nice drop and then a reclaim. Let's see what it does from here. Hopefully it doesn't bounce to the upside, but we're going to stick to the stop loss. Again, if we're trading SPY options, obviously I would have been trimming by now, but I only have one ES contract. So you guys have to keep that in mind, but just going to keep the stop loss still above those high points right there, unless something with the volume tells me to get out of the trade. Let's see if price can take out these lows and then I'll be willing to close out the position from there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let's buy it back. Boom. So that's just trade number 2. Was able to catch this from 44.74.25 all the way down to 44.62. Now, again, this wasn't an ideal setup for me, but if I were to take 2 contracts, I would have trimmed one here, put my stop loss at break even, and then ideally aim for these lows down here. Let's see if it ends up doing it. Actually, it looks like we got a pretty good exit on that because price just sat there and consolidated for a majority of the rest of the day until here. So let's just go ahead until the next day and see if we can find another setup. All right, so let's make sure we actually start this at 9:30 this time. We have 9:15, 9:20, 9:25, and then we do have a nice potential liquidity sweep below, or actually it looks like it already tried to do it. So it looks like price broke below these previous lows right here. It looks like it's trying to potentially reclaim it right here. What I would like to see is a bullish hold above this level right here, this 44.47, and then ideally get long and aim for these highs up here. Again, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm just on a 5-minute time frame. I'm not doing any higher time frame analysis. Now, if price just breaks below these lows, obviously we're looking for more downside. So let's see what ends up happening. Let's go ahead and do the next bar right there. All right, so nothing really screaming to get long. So just gonna go ahead, let's do the next candle, and of course it just went ahead and exploded without us. So potentially no trade here. Let's see if we can get a liquidity sweep up at these highs up here. Man, that would have been a nice trade. So again, nice little liquidity sweep below these lows, nice little reclaim. Just really didn't see anything on the 5-minute telling us to get into the trade. And of course, we wanted to push to the upside. So let's see if it does want to give us liquidity up there. Also, what we could look for potentially could be this pivot low to pivot high right here for a potential bounce. So let's see what ends up happening with this. Not really seeing anything on this 5-minute time frame that's telling me to get long. All right, so price did end up popping off that level, but personally didn't really see anything on the 5-minute that was telling me to get long. If anything, I'm more interested in a short up at this area. So let's see if price can get up there. All right, so it looks like we did get a nice little double top up here. Maybe if it comes up and it does a triple top, I'd be willing to short with a stop loss above these highs. Right now, it's just consolidating, nothing too interesting in this setup. So it looks like a potential triple top up here. What I'm gonna do is let's try one sell. Again, not a very high probability setup, but I'm just walking you guys through what I like to look for when I'm back testing. And the stop loss is just going to remain above this high. As far as a price target, I mean, I guess I would like to see a break below these two lows right here. So let's see if price ends up doing that. Again, I could get stopped out of this trade. I have no idea what's going to happen. All right, price is breaking down. It looks, I'm not a big fan of those wicks right there. Again, if I'm trading SPY options, I would have already trimmed at this point. So let's just see if price breaks this trend line. If it breaks the trend line, I'm willing to close the position. There we go. Let's see if they hold it below. So again, we have the option. Do we want to close the position? If we're in SPY options, obviously we are trimming and moving our stop loss. Let's just go ahead and give it one more candle. Beautiful. Just going to buy it right there. So from 44.6175 all the way down to 44.50.25. Let's go ahead. Let's go to the next day. And it looks like price wanted to go a lot lower than that. But again, with options, it is going to be completely different. So as we see, price ended up dropping all the way down to these lows down here at 44.17 or 44.18, whatever it may be. And let's just go ahead and continue from here. Let's wait until the very next day and let's see if we can find another setup. Got to make sure to pause it at 9:30. All right, so let's see what we got going on right here. So it does look like a lot of rejection up at this 44.36. If we could get a liquidity sweep above that high right there, I'd be interested. Maybe there's a fib that we could also use from this high all the way down to that low. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and take it. Let's try pivot high, pivot low. So it looks like that's around that 61.8. Also, let's see if we go to, I don't want to do a higher time frame because it's going to show me what ends up happening, but let's just go ahead and see. We could also take this high, yesterday's high, all the way down to that low point right there. And as we can see, also that 50% retracement. So obviously we now know that that candle is down, but I wanted to look and see about that 50% retracement. So yes, we already know what's going to happen, but I would be willing to short around this high up here because it's close to that 50 or even a liquidity sweep at those high points right there. Also, we do have a nice little trend line right here. So let's just go ahead and take that right there. So let's just go ahead and see if price ends up giving us anything to work with. Looks like it might try to break down without us. Looks like that's what it's going to do. Also, it does look like there was a possible fib inside of this and price came up to reject it. But we are going to see if we can find some type of setup. As of now, it's looking pretty top heavy. It looks like they want to try to pull it to the downside. But let's see if we can find a potential setup here. Okay, so a lot of volume on this 5-minute candle at 9:55. Let's see if it can lead to something. Okay, so we do have a nice high point right here and a low point right here. It looks like we rejected off of that 50% fib right here. We have that 5-minute 21 EMA right at that 61.8 at 44.2975. In this scenario, more than likely what I would do is do about half my position and be willing to add the other half up here with a stop loss a couple points above this area. So because we're trading futures, let's just go short one contract. Again, using a smaller time frame, we more than likely would have gotten a better entry closer to this 50%. So I'm willing to add one, maybe add another one up here. Let's see what price ends up doing. Ideally, looking for a new low of the day down here. And then that would be my trim point. But let's just go ahead and let's go to the next one. As we can see, price then got very close to that 21 EMA, dropped all the way down near that low of day at 44.20, giving, what was that about? About like 4 points, nothing crazy. Yeah, 4 points to the downside. And you can see stop loss hasn't been hit yet. Ideally looking for a new low. Again, could still get stopped out on this trade. I'm not trimming yet. But again, when you're back testing, this is what's going to help you a lot when it comes to your trading, because you could look at this and be like, oh, well, we rejected the 21 EMA here. Buyers tried to buy us up right here, came back up, pretty bearish candlestick off of that 21 EMA again, plus that 50% retracement. Okay, let's keep our stop loss above here. And there might be trapped buyers who are trying to buy down here. So if we take out these lows, I'm assuming those buyers are going to get stopped out, and a potential spot that we can aim for in this trade is actually going to be these lows over here for a potential liquidity sweep. Again, if you're trading SPY options, I don't know why this won't click, but if you're trading SPY options, you have a lot more wiggle room than just one ES contract. So let's see what price does. Boom, it made that new low right there. Obviously, I should close out the position. If you're in SPY options at this point, you want to be looking to trim your position even more. But let's see if price gets down to these lows. We'll just trail the stop loss at break even, maybe a liquidity sweep down at this 44.09, and we can look to ride it back up. So let's see what ends up happening from here. And it looks like I would have been stopped out on the position at break even. But again, like I said, what we would be doing is trimming on the way down and moving our stop loss. Obviously, the stop loss got hit at break even, but I'd still be willing to watch this down at these lows. It looks like it wanted to come snag that stop loss before making that next leg down. Yes, indeed it did. Anyways, let's continue to watch this. If it gives a nice liquidity sweep, honestly, would be willing to do 2 contracts on this ES. It's getting very, very close. Let's see if it can get it. Very close. Of course, you're not going to get it. You got so close and you didn't want to do the liquidity sweep. We might get it. All right, let's watch it right here. Price just swept below these lows. Let's see if it can reclaim it. And if it does with heavier volume or bullish candles, I'd be willing to try a long position with a stop loss right below that 44.09 area. So let's see if it reclaims. If not, we're just going to go ahead and ignore this setup altogether. So does not look like it wants to reclaim the area, and no. Anyways, that's going to wrap up back testing. Hopefully that helped you guys out, and just some examples. They weren't anything crazy. Again, what I like to do when I'm back testing, close my eyes, choose a random date on a 5-minute time frame, and then look for potential setups. If you want to, you can use the higher time frames. You just got to realize that it's going to show you exactly what that time frame candlestick is going to do, which is why I wasn't really doing it in this example. So if you guys did find value in this video, make sure to smash that like button as well as clicking that subscribe and that bell icon. It would mean the absolute world to me. Everybody have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.